The leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has presented a certificate of return to Senator Ademola Adeleke, who emerged winner at the governorship primary conducted by the leadership of the PDP on Tuesday in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. That action indicates that Senator Adeleke is the validly elected candidate of the party in Osun State ahead of the governorship election that will hold later this year. But I'll allow you to listen to Senator Yocha Ayu, that event where he was the senator was presented with the certificate of return.
I hope and pray that you will be our third governor under this end office, because we are going to win it. If it will be number 2, Osun will be number 3. Because we are marching to the leader, the president next year, who will work with you, support you, genuinely develop Osun State. Because as of today, there is no development in Osun. So on behalf of the end of this year, I want to congratulate you, pray for you, and promise you that we will give you all the necessary support in the next years.
Senator Yocha, are you there when Senator Ademola Adeleke was presented with the certificate of return? Meanwhile, on the day of the primary, the governorship primary in Osogbo, that was Tuesday, there was a parallel primary conducted by some leaders of the party led by former governor of Osun State, Prince Olagunsoye Oyinlola, and former Osun PDP chairman, Soji Adagundo's group, where Prince Dotun Babayemi emerged from that exercise as a candidate of the party. Well, they're claiming that they have the authentic conduct, while where the Senator Adeleke emerged is also was conducted by the leadership of the party. So the question is that they claim that they have the proper structure, the proper delegates to elect a governorship primary. But what does the law say? What is the situation of things? We're hoping that we'll be able to get and track down Senator Ademola Adeleke to give us his own side of how the story of his emergence came about. But let's speak to Prince Dotun Babayemi, who joins us virtually from Osogbo now, the Osun State capital. Thank you so much, Prince Babayemi, for joining us tonight. You emerged as the candidate of your party from the primary conducted by your own group. What is the authenticity of that exercise, considering that it doesn't have the presence of the National Working Committee of the party?
Thank you, Shil. It's good to be on the program. The PDP as a party is a party guided by its constitution. And the constitution of the party states expressly that the party primaries is a state congress. Section 25 of our constitution states specifically that the state chairman will chair the state congress. And in section 25, subsection 2, it states that the function of the Congress is to elect a governor. Now, we have several bodies within PDP as a structure. Our topmost body is the convention. Below that is the National Executive Council. The National Executive Council has Board of Trustees members, governors. We have 13 governors. It has our excos, he has working committee members and people from the state. Below the neck is the National Working Committee that is responsible for the day-to-day operations. So what you've seen happen today is a function, it's part of the electoral process. It's not the end of the electoral process. A function of our party, the working committee, has presented a certificate to someone. What we will see is now the ongoing process following our constitution to ensure that the authentic candidates and the authentic delegates that voted on Tuesday, their voice is heard. The challenge in Osun started a while ago, and it started again with the working committee at that time. Our ward congresses, we have 332 wards. In 215 of our wards, the working committee of our party at that time sold 2 sets of forms for ward congresses to 2 different chairmen of the party. One was illegally removed, and he insisted and said, no, I am still the chairman. And they sold 2 sets of forms for ward congresses for over 1,200 positions. So parallel congresses were held. The party during its convention could not resolve it. Osun had court in the brochure. At the end of the convention, the motion that moved to adopt the congresses in the states excluded Osun State. Then the chairman at that time went to court to validate his actions, all the actions that he had taken, of which the Congress was a part. And on the 22nd of November last year, a court of competent jurisdiction in Osun validated that he was the chairman and the actions that he took. On March 3rd, a court of competent jurisdiction said that the delegates that were on the side were the valid delegates and they must vote at the primaries. To the best of our knowledge, PDP has been and remains the law-abiding entity in Nigeria. So a court order was given on the 3rd of March. On the 8th of March, we had our primaries. And those delegates from the 215 wards were the Workdiff Center, where 6 out of the 6 NEC members, remember that's the second highest body, out of the 6 NEC members in Osun State, Prince Oyilola, who was an ex-governor, Erelu Obada, his deputy, Chief Shuaibu Oyedokun, who is the chairman, 86-year-old chairman of the Osun Elders Caucus, Senator Dr. Oluwalabi, were present in Workdiff Center, where there were 3 other candidates, where I was elected by 2,000 delegates as the valid candidate to fly the flag of PDP on July 16th. The exercise that happened at the other center was people gathering together because, one, the Constitution supports what we did, Constitution of our party. Also, the court has said that these are the valid candidates. So, like I said, we're in a process. If you remember, if you go back in history, you will remember the case of Celestine Umea, who again, the working committee at that time insisted was the candidate of the party. He actually was the person that INEC recognized and was elected. But at the time of the swearing in, Amechi ended up being sworn in as the governor of River State because it's the delegates that voted for him. Exact scenario were the valid delegates recognized by the local people. We have to remember
some convolution here and some kind of confusion. Let's clarify it. Based on the Electoral Act and the Constitution, what we understand is that the National Working Committee or the leadership of the party at a national level is recognized to conduct governorship primaries. But that it was not the case in at the parallel primary conducted by your group. How does that apply to you, and how do you think your own primary becomes authentic in the light of the provision of the law?
I'm actually quoting sections of the PDP Constitution as amended in 2017, way before this National Working Committee got there. Section 25 states that a state congress shall be conducted and it shall be chaired by the state chairman of the party. The Congress where I was elected was chaired by the acting state chairman of the party, Barrister Wale. Section 25, subsection 2, C specifically states that the state Congress would elect the gubernatorial candidate of the party. You see, the days where we think that people can sit somewhere elsewhere and impose candidates on the party, those days are long gone. Our people are sharp now, they're bright. We saw what happened with the NSAS a couple of months ago. People are aware of their rights. So the people of Osun will not, they will follow the constitution of the party and follow the constitution of the country. But they will not allow some people somewhere to impose a candidate not recognized by law to be imposed upon them. So it's like I said, it's a long process. The electoral process is a long process.
You quoted the constitution of your party, which is a subordinate when in the body of laws compared to the Constitution and the Electoral Act, which recognizes that the National Working Committee, the national leadership of the party, should be responsible. And in fact, and we've seen several cases where INEC is mandated to recognize the NWC as a valid body or the statutory body that will conduct a governorship primary. And that's the basis I'm asking this question from you, the implication of what you have done and how in the eye of the law, whether it has any good standing or not.
So it has good standing. Like I gave you the example that not only sitting, but voting at that exercise were 6 members of our National Executive Committee who are from Osun State. We have a total of 7. 6 of them were there, and they actually voted at that exercise. Now, they are BOT members. 4 of them are Board of Trustee members.
Don't let us. I don't want us to confuse things. There are members of the NWC and there are members of the leadership of the party. NWC is totally different from those people that you have mentioned their names. Some of them are BOT members. Some of them are NEC members. But what the law recognizes is NWC. In the first place, let me ask: was INEC present at your primary?
Yes, INEC had representation because we had notified them. Remember the case that the delegates took to court, right? The delegates that went to court to say that we are the valid delegates. That case was actually against PDP and INEC as joint defendants. So when the ruling was given on the 3rd of March, INEC was notified that these are the 1,215 authentic delegates to vote at the governorship primary, and the order was given. And both PDP, our party, the National Working Committee, and INEC were served with the processes. Even though our head office was shut on the 4th of March due to a death of the PRO in Kwara State, the court was able to order substituted service, which was done via newspapers and other means. So INEC was informed of what was happening, and they were actually notified of the primaries as well.
All right, we are due for a break, Prince Babayemi, but before we do that, on a final note, give us a sense of what this means for your party. Senator Adeleke is recognized by the Senator Yocha Ayu-led NWC, and perhaps we'll be submitting his name to INEC because Senator Yocha Ayu is the recognized chairman of the party and is the one and the secretary recognized by INEC to submit names of candidates. Where does this leave you? And in all of this crisis, we've seen this happen over and over again. The party gets to lose at the end of the day when this kind of parallel situation occurs.
One of the things I can assure you, Shil, is that the PDP will not lose out in this situation. You can be rest assured, and the people of Osun can be rest assured, that come July 16th, the PDP will go to the polls and will win that election. And I am sure that by that time, the issues within our party, it's a family issue, would have been resolved. People will have taken a step back, our neck. We have internal mechanism to resolve these issues. And that is ongoing. We've started. We're positive that it will be resolved very soon. And by July 16th, when we're going to the polls, PDP will win that election, the Osun State election, and I will be the candidate of the party.
All right, this the situation in Osun at the moment just reminds me of what happened not too long ago with the Uba and the candidate of the eventual candidate of the PDP. Very similar what happened in Anambra State, but eventually it does look like the party held sway, and I'm hoping that you guys will be able to resolve the differences at the end of the day. Prince Dotun Babayemi, who is a factional governorship candidate of the PDP at the parallel Congress primary conducted in Osogbo on Tuesday. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Sean. It's great to be here.